All right, and at this time, I'd like to welcome to the stage State Representative Diana Urban. We are so lucky to have her here with us tonight. She is a true activist, the legislator responsible for Desmond's Law, an act concerning support for animals that are neglected or treated cruelly, which has already made headlines in a Superior Court case involving animal cruelty in Manchester. And she's been involved in so much more, shining a light on the cruelty inflicted upon circus animals. And yes, this woman is blazing trails, and her influence has inspired us and her fellow state officials to serve animals and protect them. So please welcome State Representative Diana Urban.
Hey, Heidi, thank you so much for that great introduction. And Mira, where's Mira? Mira, you're just like totally awesome. It's the best. So guys, I just want to tell you like a really quick short story, and I'm going to end up with having met this guy down here, this Mark Ching, and we're going to be working together, and it's going to be amazing. So I was elected in 2000, and when I came into the General Assembly, I was like, you know what? One of my passions is animal cruelty, animal advocacy. What can I do about it? So I said, well, you know, maybe the first thing I need to do is how do I know what's going on if I don't know how many animal cruelty cases we prosecuted in the state of Connecticut? So that seems to be a good place to start. So I asked our research department, can I have the stats going back 10 years on what's happened in animal cruelty and what kind of convictions we had in Connecticut? And they said, gee, Representative, we don't have those. I said, what? They said, yeah, we purged those. I said, say what? They said, we purged those records. I said, you mean they're gone? Nobody knows? They said, yeah, well, that would be it. So at that point, I said, well, this representative is asking that those stats now be kept. And they said, oh, okay, we will start archiving. So in the year 2000, they started archiving. Now, you can't really get an idea of what's going on until you have some baseline, so you have to kind of wait for those numbers to come in. But, you know, I'm not real patient, so I was not happy about waiting. So I said, there's got to be something else I can do. Let's see. What else can I do? Well, kids were talking about dissection. They wanted dissection choice. They did not want to be forced to doing a cat or a rat or whatever, a fetal pig. They want to be able to do it on a computer. Made a lot of sense to me. You know, you make the wrong cut when you're doing the kitty. Well, if you're doing it on a computer, you can make 10 wrong cuts, and you still get to do it again and again and again. So that we got done. Now in the state of Connecticut, there is dissection choice. And then I said, well, I'm waiting for those numbers. There's got to be something else I can do. So I put in a bill saying, you know what, if you're convicted of animal abuse, you need to go into counseling. And not only do you need to go into counseling, but you need to pay for it. You don't want the state paying for it. We want you paying for it. Unless you're indigent, the state should be paying for that. That took me 3 sessions to get passed. So those are the kind of things when you say, holy moly, look what I'm up against. If it takes 3 sessions to get your fellow legislators to realize that counseling, when you've decided to, and I see a little one here, so I don't want to be too graphic on some of the things that take place, but if you see some of the things that take place and you don't think that person needs counseling, then what's the matter with you? So we got that one. And then one of my favorites, my absolute favorites, was when we started talking about breed discrimination. I'm sure everybody knows that. You're automatically a dangerous dog if you're a pit bull. You can talk to my husband about that. Visit my page on Facebook where he and Rocky, is the only thing I'm jealous of, is Rocky the pit bull, because the relationship that they have is amazing. That one, it was obvious to me we were starting to make progress, because when I brought that bill up, every single person on the committee had a story about a Rottie or a pit or some dog that was the most awesome dog ever. So that one passed like boom. So we got, you know, no dangerous dog, no dog discrimination in the state of Connecticut done rapidly. Then the next one, and I'm getting there, guys. And I hate to bring this one up because it was such a tragic moment in our state, but the Sandy Hook, the Newtown issues there. And it happened at that point in time that I was working on therapy dogs with kids. So parents, we put in a bill to partner Department of Children and Families, counselors with a team of an animal therapy dog and their handler. And guess what? We got the bill done. And one of the reasons we got the bill done was because the Sandy Hook parents had animal therapy dogs there. And they said, please, please, please don't let these dogs leave. Please. We need them. Our children need them. We need you to do this. And one of the shining moments, except for tonight, in my career as a legislator was to be with the Sandy Hook parents on the green, having them thank me for going the extra mile and saying, we're going to make this work in the state of Connecticut. And guess what, guys? No extra cost. Those therapy animals and their handlers are volunteers. The DCF workers signed up immediately. They wanted to be part of the team. So we got that one done. And finally, before I get to Desmond's Law, which I'll cover really quickly, but before and I'm still waiting on these statistics, remember? I'm still waiting to see what they're going to look like when we see, a couple of years of work. What are they going to look like? So while I'm looking at them, one of the ways I got my fellow legislators to work with me is the irrefutable link between animal cruelty and future violent behavior, specifically child abuse and domestic violence. We now have the FBI tracking those stats separately, and I take a little credit for that because I've been banging the drum forever. They track it as a separate category starting in 2016 because they see it. They get it. I'm sure everybody knows that the majority, if not all, of our serial killers started with animals. 90% of school shooters, they started with animals. What if we had been paying attention? What if we had said that kid needs help? We got to pull him in right now and see what's going on. So that link is there. So I thought, what can we do that's even more along those lines in Connecticut? So we have the first law in the nation where our Department of Agriculture, when they get called out on an animal cruelty call, and their children involved, they fill out a form and send it immediately to our Department of Children and Families. Our Department of Children and Families said, oh, there's animal cruelty in that home, suspected. We're now going to check what's going on with those children. And to flip it, when the Department of Children and Families are doing their investigations, if they see animal cruelty, they fill out a form, and in what is really what I call a Christmas miracle, it's the same form. It's not a different form for each agency. And then they go out and check in on the animal. To date, we passed this in 2015. To date, we saved 24 kids that we would not have known about, and we have stepped in on 12 dogs that we would not have known about if it wasn't for this cross-reporting. And now I'm going to finish up by telling you the law that I never expected to get. I'm serious. I was like, what is it that I can do that would just really, really start to change things? So lo and behold, the statistics came out. And I'm looking at the statistics, and I'm not going to go through them with you guys, ad infinitum. But I will tell you that our conviction rate in the state of Connecticut was about 18%. So of all the animal cruelty cases that came in front of the court, see what happens when you hear that? Of all the animal cruelty cases that came in front of us, 18% were getting a conviction. I was like, yeah, that's a problem. Not only because of the animals, but surely because of the children. It's an act of violence, guys. And it's an act of violence whether it's a dog, a kitty, I don't care what, a child, it's an act of violence. I'm going to knock everything over here. I love it. So I said, why couldn't we have a lawyer in court for the dog or the cat. And my fellow legislator said, yo, you're totally crazy, girl. We know it now, you're just gone. We hooked up with a group, Desmond's Army, and a lot of advocates. And I'll quickly tell you Desmond's story. He was adopted, pit bull. The young couple that had him had a child together, and then the guy decided he needed to strangle the mom and didn't quite make it. And the mom said, that's it, had him arrested. But I know that many women in this tent here will understand, she didn't press charges. She didn't press charges because she was afraid. She was afraid of how protection that she would be able to have once she did that. So she went off with a baby. Guess what? They had turned the dog in. After that, he went back and adopted the dog, named Desmond, brought him home, and perpetrated the most incredible amount of cruelty on that dog. If you read the prosecutor's report, you would be aghast. And he ended up strangling the dog. Do you see a link? Strangle the girlfriend. Now I'm strangling the dog. He brilliantly left the collar on the dog, so we were able to find him. After protracted court cases, he got accelerated rehabilitation, which means no jail time, no counseling, and it's erased from his record. So you will never know that Alex Willard did this. We did get him into some counseling programs, but that was the impetus for the law that I'm going to quickly tell you about. It's called Desmond's Law, and Heidi was talking about the title that's in the state statute, but it's referred to as Desmond's Law. And we always say, Desmond, we will never forget. And now you know we will never forget. So what Desmond's Law does is if there's a case of egregious abuse of an animal, of a dog or a cat, the courts can appoint an advocate. That's a lawyer. The lawyer, this is where was really a brilliant thought. We hooked up with UConn Law School. So UConn lawyers, kids who are adults, supervised by a law professor, go to court in representing the animal. And I'm telling you, it was a battle. Like when I said, I never thought I'd get it. I was like, no way this is happening. But and that's why when I look out here, you all are the armies. You all are the power that you give someone like myself who's in the legislature. You're the power. If without you, I'm nothing. I need you. I need you. I need you to rattle everything, anywhere, as much as you can. So you did. And what happened is we got the bill passed. And we're the first state in the country to have lawyers in court for dogs and cats. And the thing that amazed me is I thought it was going to be all UConn law students. And we invited Yale and Quinnipiac, and they're probably going to be signing up. But guess what? Lawyers, and it's all pro bono, lawyers signed up. I mean, we put the section in, you know, the lawyers or the UConn, or any law student who's supervised by a law professor and has background, you know, are invited. We have lawyers really getting on the list over and over and over and over again. And as of to date, there are, I believe, 11 cases now in court using Desmond's Law. We've had 2 victories already, and I still can't believe it. And that's where my final words come in. Guess who I was sitting next to is Mark Ching, and he wants to do this in California. And I'm like, he says, Diane, I can get it done in 1 session. I said, Mark, I'm flying out, I'll ride out, I'll do anything to come out there and get this done in California, because then you really, really change. California, here I come. I'm telling you, because California does this, it changed the world. So guys, I'm just going to wind up by telling you, this is how I feel. We are on the side of the angels. And don't you ever forget it. Thank you very much.
are an angel, Diana, and I'd like you to stay up here. We've got a special thank you for being here with us tonight. Thank you so much for your courage, your tenacity. Diana Urban, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.